Accelerator.
Wow. 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 Give it to me. Wow. Wow. One, two.
Funk Accelerator.
Wow. 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 Wow.
Check, check. Hey, if I can get everybody's attention just for a moment, especially there in the back. If those of you who are having conversations right there in the hallway, there's a ton of space over here and a ton of space over here. It's getting real challenging to have people come in and out. If you could just migrate over, and then in a few minutes we'll start kind of getting people in seats and things. Just if those of you who are back in the sound booth or in the hallway right there, if you can migrate over to the sides, that way we can keep the flow going of people that are coming in and out. Thank you.
Funk Accelerator.
Wow. 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 Give it to me. Wow.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, if I could get your attention again, as you can see, we've got 5 minutes, and it's gonna take all that amount of time to get everybody seated. So if we could wrap up the conversations and get to your seats, it's probably gonna take 3 or 4 minutes for that. Please try not to prolong the conversations. We just want to get things organized so we can kick off on time tonight. Thank you. All right. So again, I just want to give everybody a heads up. Our guest speakers are actually in the building getting things situated. So if you're in the middle of conversations, if you just wrap those up, have them at your seat, please. If you just, you can stand up at your seat if you need to, but we're going to try to get this thing started right on time. We appreciate it. And stand by. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much. All right. So one more quick announcement, please, as we get situated. Thank you, by the way, for grabbing seats. We'll try to get lights over there unless you guys like being in the dark. It's kind of nice. But there are going to, just one moment, there are going to inevitably, certainly, be people that filter in a little bit late. So if you have a seat next to you that's open, could you maybe squeeze to the middle a little bit? I know some of you guys, you like sitting on the edge, you want your leg to hang out. I understand that. But if you could please just make way up. If you're maybe in a row behind, move up, there's a seat. Do a couple little communications because we are going to have people otherwise standing in the back, and it's very distracting if we have to try to bring them all up to these front 3 or 4 rows. So again, especially if you're in the first 5 or 6 rows, make sure you pull all the way forward so we have some seats in the back so as people roll in a little bit late. Thank you.
Broadcast.
Well, hello and welcome to Crown Foundations podcast. My name is Toby Ayers. I'll be your host for tonight's business and leadership conversation. If this is your first time, congratulations on the personal invite. This is not a public broadcast. We're in the private sector of business and leadership development. While anyone can access this business opportunity, we only offer our time, our resources, and team to those who we feel like are a good fit and have high probability for success. The way we assess people for the business opportunity is provide them a series of interviews, resources, and dialogue to prepare people for what mentorship and coaching would look like in this unique experience. In addition, tonight we'll define and educate you on the business opportunity, the requirements, and recommendations based on our best practices. Our goal is to mitigate failure and increase the probability for your success. So enjoy this week's conversation as we facilitate a deeper look at the systems we use in business and in life. Hello, good evening. Good to see everybody. Wow, guys look incredible. Thank you, appreciate that. Am I in the right place? I think I am, yes. All right, if this is your first time, you are scared, I get it. All right, people are a little excited tonight. Tonight is a very special night here. And on behalf of Crown Foundations and LTD, my name is Toby Ayers. I am going to host tonight's meeting. I am very excited because the gentleman that's speaking tonight has become a very close friend. Him and his wife have become very close friends to my wife and I. And over the years, since 2009, my wife and I have been able to coach them and mentor them in business, in this business opportunity that you're going to see tonight. Now, this isn't his first business. It's definitely the most unique business that he's run. However, when he was younger in college, he started a lot of different businesses. And then as he went through and finished up college, he's run several traditional businesses, one of which was a very large franchise. and sold at as well. So he has a lot of business background. I would consider him a serial entrepreneur. I love how his mind thinks. You know, sometimes you get the motivated person, and he is motivating. Sometimes you get the funny person, and he's probably one of the funniest guys that I know. Now, he might not project that in this meeting, but he definitely has that in him. And it's fun being around people that have fun in life. Is that correct? You enjoy hanging out and spending time with people because you just don't want to make money. You just don't want to create a business. You want to really start a journey. That's what we've always seen and found. So I'm excited for the guests tonight. Anyone that's a guest, I want to welcome you. Maybe we can give them a round of applause and welcome tonight. You might say, why are you applauding me coming out? And I would say this because we truly honor people that are trying to do something more with their life. A lot of people in today's world, they might just kind of call it good. They might just think about things to do and maybe never take the action to do them. They might get excited, but never really go for changing and growing and developing. And that takes guts. So it takes guts to come out to a place that you've never been, around people maybe that you haven't spent much time around, and build some new relationships and connections. So I just want to commend you. I think that's an admirable trait and attribute of somebody that's truly going to grow in life. So I just wanted to tell you that I see that and I appreciate that, because I personally remember putting myself in very uncomfortable situations just to find out if maybe something was a good fit for me and grow. And not everything is, and that's what we're here tonight to learn a little bit more about. Now, we do know this, that you have been prepared to learn about our business opportunity, how we create income, but Ross is going to really take a deep dive into that and really bring to you the bonus plan and the structure and the corporations at hand and the things that we have learned how to access and to get benefits from. So I'm very excited about that. Ross and Emily, they also have two amazing little girls, and they are very special to me and I as well. So it's been kind of fun as we've done business as well, that part of that integration that we feel like is an important part of life is just to get to know people, get to know who they are, because how can you get people to where they want to go if you really don't know who they are? So we value relationships here. We value people and the time, and I know you're going to have a blast tonight. Ross has a short hour with you to share in a short amount of time some important information. So he's not going to be able to cover everything. I'll come back up, give you some recommendations on resources and maybe next steps, if this is a good fit for us to continue to educate you. But tonight really isn't about making any decisions. Our goal has always been to equip people to learn how we do business, to prepare them for potentially working in this opportunity. We believe it to be a great opportunity with great people at a great time. So without further ado, are you ready? Let's bring him up. Our guest speaker, Ross Cooper. Have fun.
All right, how's everyone doing? Wow, you guys look amazing. I appreciate that. Thank you, Toby, for that introduction. You know, obviously, I'm Ross. It'd be weird if someone else came out here after that. I'm Ross. My beautiful wife, Emily, is here in the room as well. And I just want to welcome a lot of you. I mean, there's people that have come from all around Florida to be in here, even other different states. So I want to commend you on that, because that shows a lot of initiative. It shows a lot of ambition. And I certainly have done that, would do that. We'll continue to do that over the years as well, as we continue to pursue excellence in the areas of business and leadership and learning from each other. I mean, this is the most impressive team that I've ever had a chance to be around. And if you are a candidate in the room, you are probably starting to pick that up. I mean, when was the last time somebody got into an environment like this, surrounded by people who are doing something in life? And I hope if you are going through a journey of getting to know maybe a potential mentor, maybe a coach of yours, that's the process of education that you're going through. I hope that in life that you want to make somebody proud. And I hope that in life you have the opportunity to make somebody proud. And maybe if you haven't, I can be honest with you, one of the things that I cared most about was winning an environment like this to make the people that poured so much into me proud. You know, my wife and I both. And we're going to dive into a couple things. I want to congratulate the candidates that are here tonight, because you've come here not on a whim. You've been prepared. You know, you've had some conversations, and I hope you've enjoyed the way that you've been learning so far. But you're probably the type of person who you've been looking around, right? Is anybody like I was, where you're looking for different ways to make income, you're looking for different ways to get ahead in life, and you're online, you're looking for different things, you're hearing this person succeeded doing this, and this person will teach you how to succeed, but for a hefty cost. Is anybody else like that? That's where I was. That's where my wife and I were. And so just as Toby talked about, I've had a chance to pursue other business opportunities outside of this one, and I learned so much in those areas, and that's why I like to bring them to you here, because I think that perspective and I think that understanding allows us to appreciate this opportunity at the level that it deserves. Having a coach and having a mentor is very unique. If this is your first time, you want to write down the opportunity to be in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And my experience in the traditional business world is most of the time you are in business by yourself. It's a very lonely road. And so Emily and I, we've been together actually since we were 15 and 16 years old, if you can believe that. It's kind of crazy. We did 5 years long distance. She was in North Florida. I was in Central Florida. She even went to New York City. I think she was testing me. She just was like, the next thing I know, she's living in Alaska, and I'm like, how much further are you going to go? I'm just kidding. She didn't do that. Thank goodness. But we dated through high school and then in college, and we stayed together. When you know what you have, you hold on to it, right? And that's what we found here, honestly, in this opportunity as well. And so I was always just kind of, as I grew up, I was the very adventurous type. Anybody else like that? You like adventure, you like seeing, you like getting yourself into maybe some trouble. I did that a little bit, right? I could be a troublemaker, but now I'm a productive troublemaker, I like to say. I was a skateboarder when I was a kid, and I went to study film. One of my first dreams was to be in film and to be on a nature documentary. I wanted to go live on a mountain for 6 months or something like that, which is totally weird. And I realized I can't probably do that and be married, right? So I started to change my mind a little bit, and then I started to learn about, entrepreneurship. My parents were entrepreneurs. I should say they were business owners. And there is a difference between owning a business and being an entrepreneur, by the way. Owning a business, I've experienced, can be really a glorified, it's still in the category of working for yourself, trading time for money. And I didn't know that at the time. But they've owned insurance companies, they've owned a wealth management company, and still do to this day. And so I learned about business, and so that was the road that I went into. I was starting to pursue the knowledge and the ability to create an ongoing source of income, and I looked into a lot of different ways to do that. How many people know about the guy who's always getting into real estate, who's always getting into stocks, who's always starting this and who's always starting that? Does anybody know anybody like that? Anybody currently like that as well? I was that guy. Hey, I'm going to be doing this. Hey, this is a great idea, and I'm going to be doing this. Or this is a great idea to be successful and make money, and I'm going to be doing this. Write this down. The only thing better than a great idea is a great plan. And I had a lot of great ideas. You probably had a lot of great ideas. That's the problem, I think, with society today, is it's filled with lots of people with lots and lots of ideas. And if ideas made people successful, there'd be probably a lot more successful people in the United States of America, wouldn't there be? Right? Tonight I'm not going to talk about huge incomes. I'm not going to talk about, getting rich or anything like that, because if the opportunity to make money was all people needed to succeed, then there would also be a lot more successful people. I'm going to talk about getting on the road to success, because that's what most people need. They're too busy looking at the road that they have not chosen a vehicle to get on the road to yet. We're going to talk about a vehicle. We're going to talk about a plan. It's not the perfect plan. That's what you need to understand. Most people are always looking for the perfect plan. That's why they never choose one. If anybody can choose and poke holes in an opportunity like this, the leaders and the people that are successful in this arena are probably the most qualified to do so. I could probably find more things wrong with an opportunity like this than most people could. But it's those things that still I decide to do this, because if I compare this to the other opportunities that were in life, I start to see the power and the benefit and the opportunity behind it. Does that make sense? And so we're going to talk about some of that tonight. So I want to dive in. I want to give you a little bit of an outline. We're going to talk about three things. Number one is a journey of mentorship and coaching that we got access to, actually with that gentleman right there, Toby, and his wife, Mia. My wife and I, Emily and I, we got access to Toby and Mia really while we were in those stages of owning businesses for ourselves, and I'll get back into that. Number two is a business opportunity, a chance, a system for generating a revenue stream and an income stream. And number three, a system of education. You know, we grow and we scale by equipping, teaching, coaching, and developing leaders. This is a leadership development opportunity as much as it is a business development opportunity, which I was super excited about because I had a lot of experience in business and I had zero experience in leadership. You know who can prove that the most? My former employees. They would be the first ones to tell you he had a lot to learn in the areas of leadership. Right? Thankfully, I don't have any employees anymore today because that was a headache, right? So I started some businesses. I started my first business after college. I was 22 years old. My wife was studying fashion, and I went into the swimming pool industry. Why? Because it had a recurring revenue stream. You know, something that was month in, month out. You know, people have done landscaping, and also because it was inexpensive. And you say, how inexpensive was it? Well, to start was $30,000, right? That to me was the most inexpensive business that I could get myself into at the time. You know, we ended up building that up. Emily and I started to succeed. I don't know if I'm supposed to sit in this chair, but I'm not going to. You know, so just pretend somebody's sitting in that chair, or I'll get antsy. You know, I'm the. You know, Toby talked about there's different versions of me. I'm in the fired up version right now. You know why? You know why I'm in the fired up version? Because I love free enterprise. I love that there's an opportunity in America to choose where you're going in the future. And in my opinion, once I found an opportunity, I no longer had an excuse. And that's what most people see in America. We have unfortunately, we have an affection to being the victim. Why? Because there's no responsibility in being the victim. If you are a victim, then somebody else is always at fault. I would be more successful if this person did this for me. I would be more successful if I had more money. I would be more successful if I had more time. I would be more successful if, I had a better personality. I would be more successful if my parents helped me grow up, better and equipped me for success. And honestly, those, I empathize with anything in that category. But you're surrounded by a bunch of people succeeding that had every single one of those circumstances happen in their life. Does that make sense? So the more we get, the more affection we have to being a victim, the less responsibility we get to take. And I just decided to take a sip of water. So real quick, I went from running the pool business, then we started a franchise. I was like, all right, we're succeeding, we're doing pretty well. I'm going to start a franchise. I'm going to buy something that's going to give me more of a system. So we spent over $400,000 buying a franchise, and It was not all of my money. I had to borrow some money. I had to sell off some companies to get that. But the goal was to start and run multiple different franchises over the years. That was in my mind how I was going to be successful. And then I did buy the first one, and I realized how much of a headache it already was, right? How much time I had to spend, how many employees I had to manage, and how expensive it was. Tens of thousands of dollars on a daily basis going in and out, and having to manage that. I had $40,000 to $90,000 of expenses every single month running a business like that. That means I had to make $90,000 to bring home one. Can you imagine that? Not just that I had to make it, I had to produce the effort in order to make it, in order to bring home one. Can you imagine doing the work to make 90 grand to be broken even? That was the traditional business journey that we were headed down. And so in that season of time, why do I tell you that backstory? Because I want you to understand where I was when we started looking for an opportunity. Now, you don't have to go through that kind of a journey to be here, because most of you probably are not. Most of you, maybe you are traditional business owners, or maybe you're in corporate America, or maybe you're in the service industry. Anywhere and everywhere is good. Honestly, the traditional business experience I have, in my opinion, it held me back. You know why? Because I felt that Toby, who is my current coach, I thought that my business experience was bringing more value to him than it actually was. I thought that he needed me. I thought that it was going to be, I thought that we were, I thought that I was bringing just as much or more to the table than he did, but I learned really fast that I had so much more to gain from a mentor and a coach than I had to give. And that's when my attitude went from kind of an entitlement mindset to an appreciation mindset. I realized that they knew based on the lifestyle that they created, they knew how to help me succeed, and I needed to take a step back and listen, right? So here's what I didn't get a chance to do. I know we have a picture up there of my family, right? And this is just to help you realize that I'm a normal person, right? I have 2 kids, and based on statistics, 100% of people with a heart say "aw" when somebody shows a picture of their kids. So look to your left and right. If that person didn't say "aw," just give them a hug, They probably need it. So that's Chloe, that's Charlotte, and of course that's Emily. And there's a bunch of people hugging everybody, You didn't realize that was gonna happen tonight, right? A little weird. All right, let's dive into some things. I like to give you that experience so you know where I was coming from, because I was looking for more. It's so easy to assume from the outside looking in. I was 26 years old. I had a franchise that was worth $500,000. My wife had a degree in fashion. She was doing what she loved. Have you ever heard the term, if you do something you love, you'll never have to work a day in your life? She'll be the first one to tell you that's not always true. You know why? Because she loved those 2 little girls more than she loved showing up 40 hours a week to build someone else's company in the fashion industry. And then she said, well, maybe I can start my own. Well, then she would be trading 40 hours a week for probably 80 hours a week, and a lot more debt, and a lot more headaches, and even less time with those 2 little girls. And she started, because she was like, I get to do the things that I love like 5% of the time. The other 95%, I'm managing other employees. I'm working with vendors. I'm doing all this different stuff. And that's kind of the facade of doing something that you love, is when you turn the thing that you love into a job, then what? Does that passion sustain itself? Because I think that the reason that we do things has a lot less to do with a hobby and a lot more to do with the people that we love around us. See, I make decisions based on values, not based on comfort, right? Most of the time. I try to, I'm still getting better every day. Is it okay if I'm still growing, right? If it's okay if I'm growing, it's okay if you're growing too. But I like to make decisions based on values, and those values revolve around our family, And so So I'm going to dive right in a little bit. Tonight I want to kind of start with really, things that you probably already learned, right? The various methods of creating income. So the reason that this is important, the reason I want to start here is because I was running a business for myself and not realizing that I was limited. I was limited based on my time, that I had very few ways to scale my efforts. I had very few ways to work together with others. And most traditional businesses, they scale through employees. Okay? That's how most traditional businesses. How many people have ever had the thought, oh, well, maybe one day I can start a business and hire somebody else to run that business? Raise your hand if you've had that thought before. Hands up all around the room. Here's the problem. Will they? They won't. Let me ask you. Let me give you an illustration. If your boss came to you and said, "Hey, I kind of got a lot of things going on, and for the next year, I would like for you to run the company in my absence. Are you okay with that?" You'd be like, "Well, what does that mean?" Well, your hours are gonna go to all hours of the night. You're gonna start having to take money out of your own pocket. If there's needs that need to be met, are you cool with that? You're like, "Okay, well, how much am I making?" Well, you're gonna make about the same amount of income. Who's gonna do that? Nobody. So here's what I found. The better employees I hired, and the more I tried to scale my efforts through employees, the faster they went to other companies for more money than I can afford, right? And the better employees that I hired, the more likely they were to just start another business to compete with mine, right? And that's what I started to experience, and I realized that there was a difference between having employees and having people that we partner with. And that's what we do here in this opportunity. So you saw in that slide that I was looking for an ongoing source of income, something that I knew that if I spent time building and developing an income stream, that I wouldn't have to repeat the same actions every single day and every single month in order to make income. That I could do something today that 5 years from now I could be benefiting from. And I couldn't do that in the traditional business world. If I sold a swimming pool heater and made a couple $1,000, well, next month I'd have to do the same thing in order to make more income. Now, all businesses need to continuously produce a revenue stream, but the type of revenue stream that I was creating was very, very active. Does that make sense? And that's when we got around this team, and I started to spend time around Toby and his wife, Mia, and I remember being on a trip with Toby and Mia. We went to my family's beach house, and he was on the pool sipping a lemonade, okay? And I remember my phone blowing up. It was my first day on that trip, and my employee was like, one of our guys ran the truck into another truck. Which that doesn't, it doesn't just make a super truck. It breaks both of them, right? And so I start having to go into total management and chaos stage. And he's like, "Hey, when are you going to come hang out with me?" And I'm like, I have to go. I have to go handle this problem. And he's like, "Well, get somebody else to handle it." I'm like, "Who?" The buck stops with me, right? And in this environment and in this culture, that's not the way it works. So, I want to dive into a business opportunity and a strategy for generating a revenue stream. So, as you've been learning, we have a business that's in the network marketing space. You've probably been learning a lot about that. Maybe this is your first time hearing that terminology, maybe not. But in the network marketing business environment, I learned the power of people getting to work together. That's basically what the network marketing industry is all about. It's people in a network working together to do more together than they can on their own. Does that make sense? And I was like, that sounds like a pretty good idea, because I was tired of doing everything on my own. And So Toby and Mia started to educate my wife and I around the industry of network marketing, the mentorship and coaching that they would provide to us, what they were willing to do for us. And then I became a student really, really fast. Now, the opportunity that we have is not, the process of educating and working together with Toby and Mia was not a requirement, but I wasn't just looking for an opportunity, I was looking for a coach. You understand the difference? See, how many of you know that, who can play basketball? Raise your hand in the room. Who can play basketball? Okay, now who can play basketball at the NBA level? You're like nudging your buddy, like, come on, you're pretty good, Probably not at the NBA level, But anyway, what separates the two? Because you don't even need to know the rules of basketball in order to start playing. You can just start dribbling a ball. But what separates that person from an NBA player? A coach, a strategy, If you told me, see, I'm not going to just encourage you. I know I'm spending a lot of time here, and I like to set this up properly, but I'm not just going to sit here and encourage you and tell you that you're going to be successful. I'm sorry, but I wish that I could, but here's why I can't yet. Because I don't know what your work habit would be. I don't know what your commitment level to creating success would look like. Now, your potential coach might, but I don't. That would be like you telling me, without knowing anything about me, I believe you can play in the NFL. Do I look like a guy who can play in the NFL? Thank you. I appreciate that. See, he's an encourager. I love that. But he's also really wrong. You know why? I don't spend any of my time playing football. How am I going to play in the NFL? Now, what if I told you, hey, I hired the best coaches. I'm actually working with Tom Brady. I'm just learning how to play football, but I'm working with Tom Brady. He's coaching me 8 hours a day. I bought the best equipment. I got the best resources. I'm practicing. I'm getting around the people he knows. I'm getting around the people he coaches. And my plan is in the next 5 years to be good enough to play in the NFL. Now that's due encouragement, right? Am I going to play? Probably not. I'm missing two things, real basic, talent and ability. But outside of that, I can do it because I look like one, according to that guy. In the face, right? From the neck up, right? NFL player. Okay. So in the network marketing industry, we work with an organization called the Amway Corporation. You've probably seen their building downtown, right? And here's what they do for us. They are a manufacturer. They have a bit, oh, there you go, right there. All kinds of good stuff. Amway's been around since 1959. And I didn't know a lot about the Amway business opportunity when I got started in this in learning about this opportunity for myself. But I did know about the industry of network marketing. My brother did some things. I was in college, So how many people are trying to do just anything all the time to make some extra money? And I had kind of an idea of what I thought things were. But then they started to really educate me around, what the Amway Corporation really does for people. And they are a system of business that really takes care of the back-end requirements of running and operating a business. If you start a business, what are some things you would have to do? Manufacturing of products, right? Research and development of new products. You have to ship the products. You have to package the products. You have to get FDA approval on those products. You have to have a website, manage a website. You have to develop apps now. If a business doesn't have an app, well, what good is it in these day and age, right? You have to, and not only do you have to do all those things, but you have to pay for all of those things. And not only do you have to pay for all of those things, but you got to figure out how to make them all work together if you were doing this. Like, how many of you think it costs more than $100 to do that in the traditional business world? More than $1 million, more than $1 billion. In most cases, correct, right? And so, that's what Amway really does for us as a business system, is they take care of the all of those things. They take care of the manufacturing. They manufacture hundreds of different products for us. They take care of the website development. They take care, even the accounting. You know, one of the things that I hated about traditional business was accounting. Who wants to crunch numbers all day long? Nobody, right? Thankfully, that's what the opportunity does for us automatically, right? They've developed, you know, back-end web office. I don't even know how it happens, but, you know, it happens right there for us, which is really great. And so, obviously, you know, the Amway Corporation's been around since 1959. And so I started to really look at that as, wow, you know, there's a lot of longevity there. You know, there is a lot of, I knew that if it had been around since 1959, what is that, 60-something years, almost 65 years, right? In my thoughts, I was like, how many companies have even been around for 65 years? You know, raise your hand in the room if the company you work for has existed for more than 65 years. Just a few hands, like a handful. Think about that. Most of the companies that we're even working for have not even existed for that long. So that gave me a lot of perspective, a lot of credibility in the marketplace. And so we started learning like what they would do for us as a company. And I was like, man, I have to do all of that now in my traditional business. I don't have to do that working with the Amway Corporation. I started getting really, really excited. Now, what I didn't know was that there are a lot of different experiences even with the Amway business opportunity, but especially in the network marketing industry, right? I believe that there's a lot of approaches, you know, separate an opportunity from a strategy into an opportunity, right? Because most of the time, most people that ever look at the Amway business opportunity have never seen it or have never worked with a professional. That's a really important thing to be thinking about. You know, am I working with a professional? And how do you know? Well, professionals, they invest into themselves. They are not doing the minimums, they're doing the maximums. And if you do anything in, you know, here's why most people fail in anything. They try things out. They try things out. You know, let me give you an example in the real estate industry, right? How many of you know how many houses the average real estate agent sells? Does anybody know? In a year? One. That's because you know, Matt. You've heard me give that example. Good job. Right answer. Somebody give him a gold sticker. Okay? Matt gets a gold sticker at the end of the night. All right, so how many houses the average real estate agent sells in a year? One. Isn't that crazy? How many real estate agents can support their family selling one house a year? Very few, right? Probably none. But is real estate, are there a lot of successful realtors in the world? Many that make a great income, many that do very well for themselves? Yes. Again, what separates them? It's their approach and their strategy. You know, it's working with the right people, having the right strategy, and treating it like a professional. And I had never met anyone in the network marketing industry that was building a big long-term business and treating it like a professional until I met Toby and Mia. I saw the success that they had. I mean, look around, I saw the team that they had created. And I was like, well, if they're willing to coach us and they obviously have the results, I'm willing to listen. And I started to see the differences between people who fail and people who don't. Because if you ask me, hey, Ross, how many people has Amway made successful in its history since 1959? I would tell you 0. You know why? Because Amway has never made anybody successful. People make themselves successful by accessing the right coach and having the right strategy. Does that make sense? So we'll talk about a couple other things and we'll continue to move on beyond that. But you know, some of the different products they have. Amway is focused in everyday commodity goods. And I like that about what they do because, you know, these are products that people use every single day. They've focused most of their manufacturing in household goods. Think of sports nutrition goods. Think of home care goods. Think of skincare and cosmetics, you know, energy drinks, health and wellness. You know, these are obviously things that people use on a regular basis, even basics, shampoo, laundry detergent, vitamins, things like that. And those are the areas that they're in. Why? Because these are consumable goods that people use on a regular basis. And the trends in those categories are going up. How many of you think that people are looking to get more healthy in today's business environment? Yeah, that's very, very normal. How many people are looking to get better sleep, right? Have more energy, look better. I need some of that. Feel better, right? Get back into shape. I mean, I used a lot of those sports nutrition products and got into better shape. I was a product of the business that I was a part of. Does that make sense? And so that's what they do. They manufacture, over 350 exclusively manufactured goods. And that's what they do for us. And they provide a framework on how to build a business around that. So we'll kind of move on, because you say, well, what does that look like? So I was telling you a little bit about my traditional business background, right? And when I bought the franchise, how many of you kind of know what my franchise fee was for something like that? Any guesses? $200. I wish. It was $18,000 just for the permission to operate the business. And that didn't include the inventory, that didn't include the building, that didn't include the vehicles, that didn't include the contracts, it didn't include any of that. And so you do need a business license with Amway. And it is also $18,000, and you can just write me a check for the rest of whatever's left over. I'm just kidding. Because what does it look like? It's $76 for a license with Amway. Which to me, I was like, there's got to be something there. I was like, all right, that's got to be even monthly probably, right? Well, that's not even a monthly cost. That's a yearly business license to work with Amway. You can obviously have, you can get some initial products out of the gate. They provide some opportunities and resources for that as well, which I think is awesome. But the license itself is $76. And I was like, I can't even mow lawns on the weekend for that because, you need a business license, an LLC. And I was used to going to sunbiz.org and getting an LLC in order to own my own business, because that's what all businesses have to do if you have a license to do business. And that alone was $125 a year. And I didn't get a website, and I didn't get products to manufacture, and they didn't ship the products for me, and they didn't package the products for me. If there was something wrong with the product, they didn't take it back and ship them a new one. And that's what Amway really takes care of for all of us as a business. You start to see where I'm going with this? I started to see the power of entrepreneurship powered by the Amway Corporation, right? Because these are all things that we didn't have to do for ourselves. Now, moving on from the Amway Corporation, when we talk about how do I make it successful, I believe that if you pursue that kind of an opportunity on your own, the chances of success are very, very low. I believe that. Now, I could be wrong, but this opportunity is not designed to be done, on an individual basis. It's a team effort. And by the way, that is the point of the education process that you're going through. Because we're not just looking to add people to the network, we're looking to add the right people to the network. Has anybody ever heard of companies that have grown too fast and then that was their demise? Absolutely. It happens in traditional business all the time. I was just listening to Toby the other day. He was working for a startup earlier on in his career. And in 1 year, they went from 12 employees to 150 employees. That's fast growth. Woohoo, the business is cranking. 2 years later, they were out of business. Why? Squandering their resources, working with the wrong people. Sometimes growing too fast is also the problem. And that's an epidemic, honestly, in the world of network marketing, is people will equate growth with success, and that's actually not usually true. Because if you look at what makes businesses great, it's usually their culture and their environment. I would write that down. Culture and environment. And it's the whole reason why you're going through the education process that you're going through. Number one, to prepare you for success, but number two, to make sure that you identify and connect with the culture and in the environment that's in this room. And when you are inside of an environment that's conducive for success, your chances of success go way up. How many of you played organized sports growing up? How many of you played on a team that won a championship? Okay? And then how many of you played on a team that didn't win a single dang thing no matter how hard you tried? Okay? When you were on that team, the second one, did you play like a champion? Some of you might have tried to, but did you play at your highest capacity? Probably not. You know why? Because you play at the level of the people around you. Now, what about the people that played on a championship team? Did it make you want to be better? Did you play at a higher level, even surprise yourself? And see, that's what's so important about an environment conducive for success and a culture and a coach. See, who would feel good if you were trying to make a team? You were playing on a team, and you were doing more than was required. You were showing up early and you were staying late. When they told you to run 100 yards, you ran 120. You were investing into the best resources. You were doing as much as you could. And what if your coach came to you and said, hey, I can't spend any time with you today because Johnny didn't show up for practice today, and I'm going to have to go to his house today and try to get Johnny to practice. How would you feel? Would you be excited about the coach? Would you be excited about the team? No, because great coaches are expecting something, and that's what this culture and environment breeds. It creates the desire for excellence. Now, everybody has to grow where they're at. And if you saw me when I got in the business, you'd be like, how did that kid turn into that guy, right? And I'm still growing every day. So 10 years from now, I'll look hopefully more better, right? Hopefully my grammar will be more better as well. But anyway, why do I talk about that? Because the next piece is really important because it's our educational system. And educational system is really important because, what we are talking about and training on is not made up. It's not, it's a proven system of success. Write that down, proven system of success. I can't make any guarantees to you that you will be successful, but if you make the decisions that successful people have made time and time again, do you think that your probability of success will be much higher? The answer is yes. And how do you know? Well, LTD and the resources inside of LTD gives you access to coaching, or it gives you access to information. Essentially what it is, it's an organization, it's an environment of business owners, men and women, that have come together, that have been very, very successful, and they said, we need to get more information into the business and the teams that we're working with because we don't want to be the only ones with this information. We want to provide it to you. How many of you at work, have you ever had somebody be like, hey, you can't know that, that's above your pay grade? Anybody heard that? Did it frustrate you like crazy? Did you say, well, maybe if you told it to me, my pay grade would go up, but I can't because nobody's giving me any information here? Anybody feel that way? See, it's really frustrating when you can't get the information and be more successful, and that's what LTD is for. There are no secrets. Write that down. There are no secrets. There's no secrets in this environment. We were talking with Toby today. He said, there's no secrets in our business. And I love that about what we do because the information is available and LTD makes it available. Business owners, men and women that have been successful, and they put together apps for education, apps for communication, and also meetings and events like this. This is under the LTD banner, and there's hundreds of these all across the United States. And what happens is it helps to assist in training and development of people. Training and development of leaders. I got really excited because it meant that the playing field was now level. Because if I had access to all the same information that my coaches had, then I could be just as successful as they are. But if I don't have the same level of information, I can only be as successful as the level of information that I have. Well, we take the lid off. It's completely up to you. You can listen to audio podcasts, you can read books, you can attend events like this. And it's not just meant to motivate you and hype you up, because honestly, motivation doesn't work. But we all need to be inspired, because we don't usually do what we're capable of doing without inspiration. That's what a coach is for. There's no self-made people out there. People that have done really well in the world, they usually can say, I had this person in my life, I had this person in my life, I had this person in my life, and when they helped me and when we came together, it created what we have today. Does that make sense? And so that's what LTD does for us. It's a system of education so that even as you build and develop your network, if you get a chance and an opportunity to work with this team, when you get a chance to build your network, you're not going to have to be everything for everybody either. See, in traditional business, the buck stops with you. You have all of the information, and you usually have to solve all the problems past a certain point. You can be like, hey, can you handle that? But at some point, you're handling the problems as a business owner. But in this environment, because it's a level playing field, that doesn't happen. And you might even have people that are in your business network that are more ambitious than you, apply themselves more than you. They want to succeed more than you, work harder than you do. And you know what? That's a good thing, because that's what we want. We want an unlimited playing field. And honestly, the Amway Corporation in the world of network marketing is the only one of its type that is unlimited. It's an unlimited stair-step breakaway program. And in the world of network marketing, there's a lot of binary and matrix plans. And here's what that usually means. It benefits the people at the top. I had a problem with that. I didn't want a type of business that was only existing to benefit the people at the top. You might even think that about me up here. You're like, oh, you're probably doing really well because all these people are here. I'm not the most successful person in the room. In fact, the people that were setting up the stage tonight, all of them are more successful than I am. They just won't tell you because they're humble, right? But I've learned a lot from Tom Miller. I've learned a lot from Kelly Bremer. I've learned a lot, obviously, from Toby Ayers, right? And that's what this team is all about. It's not an individual, it's about a team. It's about a culture, and it's about environment. And honestly, I was like, man, if I can just be around these people, maybe their success will rub off on me. And that's exactly what happened. Does that make sense? Because it doesn't take a lot of effort. Most people, they choose their environment, they choose their sphere of influence kind of by happenstance. I call them proximity relationships. Coworkers, school friends, high school, college, coworkers, church, whatever it is, usually the people that are, just kind of there, right? And very few times it's intentional. And I want you to understand something, because you're like, well, my friends they're good association, they're great people, and I'm sure that they are, But my question is, where are they going? And that doesn't mean we say you have to get rid of your friends, right? Or old association. Please don't misunderstand me. But also choosing to be around the right people is also something that we wanted to do. And not doing something bad is not the same thing as choosing to do something good. You understand the difference? That would be like getting in your car and putting it in neutral and sitting there for an hour and being like, that was the best ride I ever had because I didn't get in an accident. Right? No, but you also didn't go anywhere. And that's how a lot of people choose their association. And so, the LTD environment, this team, this organization gave us the ability to choose the network and the people that we decided to be around. All right, so how do I make money, right? That's the big question. How do I make money in this opportunity? Well, it's going to start with, because if you look at the products and the business opportunity that Amway provides for us, the first thing that you want to do is create volume. Okay, I would write that down, create volume, it's points. If you look at the slide here, there's a bonus scale on the right. And the bonus scale essentially is, as volume and as revenue flows through our businesses, it's creating points. Why points? Because points are way more fun to talk about than dollars, right? I got 100 points, right? Woo, I'm winning, right? That's exciting. That's not really the reason. The reason is because of inflation and because of, making sure that as inflation goes up, people's incomes go up and all this different stuff, which we all know inflation isn't even really a thing, right? So it doesn't matter. Somebody was like, I can't go out to eat for less than $20 anymore, and that's if I get fast food. I'm like, that's inflation for you right there. So anyway, so how do we make money, right? I want that slide to come back up, right? There we go. So you got, initially, here's what our first strategy is going to be. In our business, we have hundreds of different products, okay? You can put the slide back down. I don't know why I put it back up, right? I can control it from up here, but, oop, is it gone? Sweet, good job. Me, thank you. All right, so, the Amway Corporation, they manufacture hundreds of products, right? And as a business owner, you will now have access to market those hundreds of products for your own business. You say, well, how? How the heck would I even go about doing that? Well, what do you think probably the first thing that you would suggest yourself to do if you now have access to hundreds of good products? You'd want to use them, right? You'd want to understand what you have your hands on. You'd want to get a positive experience. And remember those categories that I told you before? Who wants to sleep better? Who wants more energy? Who wants to feel better? Who wants to be more healthy? Who wants to look better, smell better? That's a good one, right? Sometimes I have the jokes that one guy laughs. Those are my favorite. Anyway, so one of the first strategies is getting an experience and using your own products. I was creating points in other people's businesses all the time. I was buying and purchasing products from other businesses, and I didn't have any way to benefit from them. I didn't have any way to profit from them. But now that we were in business for ourselves, we were like, well, what are these excess energy drinks all about? What is this Perfect Water all about? What is Emily was like, hey, I want to learn about the Artistry skincare brand and makeup and all this different things. And we got pretty excited because we're like, you mean we get to shop from our own business? That was exciting. If you owned a grocery store, where would you probably get most of your groceries? From your grocery store. I would assume so. And that was kind of really our first thing that we wanted to do was we wanted to learn what we had our hands on. If you went to a restaurant and you asked the owner, hey, what's your favorite thing on the menu? And he's like, I don't know, I've never eaten here before. Would you stay and eat? I'd be like, I'm going somewhere else, okay? So that's number one. And then number two is now that you have access to products, now you have the opportunity to create customers of your business as well. And that's huge because, all businesses need customers. And the cool thing about the customer opportunities that we have is we don't have to be amazing salespeople. In fact, I don't even think I'm a good salesperson, right? I believe that sales gets a bad stigma though, because we usually think about the pushy salesman type. We think about the annoying guy on on Instagram and we think about thank you. Perfect Water. We think about the used car salesman. We think about the person who's not really, now there's a used car salesman out there. He's like, oh, come on, man, not again, right? I get bad rap. You know why? Because that is how people perceive sales. And I understand why, because they're not looking at somebody who's actually helping people. They're looking at somebody with their own agenda only. Now, if you don't like that, then you probably also wouldn't do that, right? If your goal was to actually help people, then that's probably going to translate, because how many people have bought a used car in their life? Raise your hand. Almost every hand in the entire room. What does that mean? The used car salesman at the right time is helping people. Now, if you didn't need a new car and this guy was like, you need to buy this car, you'd be like, get away from me. But if you did need a new car, you'd be like, hey man, I actually do need a new car. I'm in the market. What do you got? I don't know if it's right for me, but what do you got? The used car salesman was like, hey, I don't know if what I have is right for you, but let me show you what I have. Does that make sense? It's called right timing. Write that down. Right timing is important. And so that's our approach to creating customers, is meeting people with right timing and having a product that can actually make their life better. And these are things that people are using every single day. Let's think about protein shakes. Let's think about vitamins. Let's think about, makeup and skincare, all these different areas, laundry detergent and shampoo. Raise your hand if you or somebody you know uses one of those things, okay? I'm sorry, some hands aren't up in the room, toothpaste, right? Let's go with toothpaste. Anybody, right? That's one of them for sure. So we're not having to sell and convince people on something they'd never heard of, right? Hey, you need to use this. You should use this. You've never heard of it, but it's good, I promise. No, it's learning how to show somebody really hey, you're already using protein. I don't know if this one would be right for you, but you're in the gym working out. You're getting more protein in your diet. Here, try some. Let me know if you like it. They're like, wow, that's awesome. XS, it's a healthy energy drink that we utilize. Healthy B vitamins, that's why I say that. It's not really caffeine driven. There's a little bit in some of them, and some of them are caffeine free and stuff like that. But I love helping people with this, because how many people know, like coworkers or people that are like, when you say, how you doing? And they say, I'm tired, right? Monday morning, ask people, how are they feeling? Be like, you're fired up, aren't you? You got a lot of energy this morning. They're like, get away from me. I'm sleeping under my desk today, right? Just poke in, they're sleeping under their desk, hey, just try this XS. Might help you out a little bit, helps me, right? And that's kind of what I'm talking about, not trying to be the salesperson, but say, hey, you're tired here. These things help me, try it out, let me know. And every time they come back, they're like, man, that thing was good. Where do I even buy that from? Hey, I can text you a link. It's to my store online. It'll ship right to your door. Let me know. I can help you do it if you need to. That's the kind of experience that we're talking about. Simple, right? And I was like, well, that makes a lot of sense, because I helped that person get more energy. That was something that they liked. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have hundreds of products that I can do this with. So the opportunities to create customers started to go up. I know I'm going late here, so I'm going to speed up a little bit. But then what, right? My goal is not to constantly do that for the rest of my life and have to manage hundreds or thousands of customers, because that would be a lot, right? But to me, it was a means to an end. It was getting an experience so that I could now scale by teaching and equipping others to do what I've done. And we have a handful of customers today. But write this down, repeat business. It's 10 times more expensive for a customer to get a new customer. 10 times more expensive for a company to get a new customer than it is to keep the customer they already have. Does that make sense? And so having repeat business is extremely important, and we're looking to do that on a regular basis. So if we fast forward this, if you look at points, right? You got 200 points from customers, you got 100 points from personal orders. It's about a 3-to-1 ratio, okay? 3-to-1, $3 equals 1 point. So that's a good small business, and that's using your own products and creating customers as well. And that's going to start creating some profit. $149. That's not a massive income, but what does that look like? What had to happen in order to create that? I needed to start using some products from a business of my own and helping some other customers to do the same thing. I was like, I'm kind of already doing that for other companies, and they're paying me $0. I was like, that's better than $0. I'm going to learn how to do that. You get what I'm saying? And so that's really the beginnings of that process. And it's an experience that you can now scale with. Like if you think about Ray Kroc with McDonald's, how many of you know, or how many of you think that at one point Ray Kroc was in the back of a McDonald's frying up French fries? The owner of a McDonald's, how many of you think he has? How many of you think he hasn't? Never did, right? Some hands up there as well. Of course he did. He would have to know the experience of running one of his businesses so that he could then teach it and equip somebody else to do the same thing. Does that make sense? And that's what that beginning process looks like. So if we continue to scale that out, what would be the next phase? I'm going to move through this quickly, but what would be the next phase? It would be partnering our efforts with other like-minded business owners. I believe that there's a frequency of people that are looking to grow. In fact, you're probably here because you were already looking for more opportunities. You were already looking for more success in life, and maybe some conversation with somebody that you know, but you were like, I'm looking for something more, whether you know that this is the right fit for you or not. We're here to find out, right? We're going through this education process to find out. But I like to call it a board of directors. Any company that's going to start scaling by working together with others are going to want to work together with the right people, aren't they? And if you just pick anybody, it's not going to work that way. But if you spend time by working with your coach to qualify and vet the proper individuals to make sure that, hey, I know you're excited about an opportunity, but are you still excited when you know really what it's probably going to take to be successful? And if they are, well, then good, you're in the right territory. But if they're like, I want to do nothing and be really rich, be like, well, this probably is not the right opportunity for you because it's going to take some effort. Does that make sense? So we're going to spend some time and we're going to select a handful of people. In this example, it's 6 individuals. 6 individuals, single people, couples, what have you. And what are we going to do? Well, we're going to educate them about this opportunity, right? Like I said, you probably liked the way that you've gotten here now. Have you felt like you were convinced to be here tonight? Probably not. You're here because you want to be here tonight. You want to learn, right? And those are the right types of people that you want to be thinking about, because you think people are always going to be looking for more income and opportunities in the world. You think at any point in the history of the future of the United States, people are going to be like, I'm good. Universally, I'm good. I'm just going to graduate from college, get a job, and just do that for the rest of my life. No, like we're already thinking about people all the time, or people are already talking about all the time, I need more income. I need more opportunity. I don't want to work for someone else for the rest of my life. And what happens is we can teach them how to create volume in the same way that you were taught how to create volume. In this example, it's 150 points for each person, right? They're using their own products and they have customers themselves. Why is it less than yours? I just believe that you want to be the best example. I decided to double everything I expected somebody I was coaching to do, because that's leadership. Our definition of leadership is not pushing someone else to do something. It's saying, hey, we're charging the hill, and if you come along with me, then you'll benefit from it too, and I'll help you get up here once I'm up there, right? On my way up there, to be quite honest with you. Is this making sense so far? So you got 6 individuals, you're helping them create some volume. The income on that is about $561, right? And that's give or take, and that's on a monthly basis. And I was like, well, that's pretty good. I've helped some people. I've learned how to do that myself. And then what happens is you start to be able to help others win, right? And this is my favorite part about this opportunity. It's the ability to help others to do what you were helped how to do. You probably were helped, if you go backwards, you were probably helped immensely to choose and select and partner your efforts with these 6 individuals. Right? It doesn't have to be 6. It can be more than that. If it's less than that, obviously the volume would be lower, but you get what I'm trying to say, right? And so, in the next example, if you look at continuing to scale it beyond that, if you look at these 6 businesses and you say, well, what if each one of them grew, whether individually or they're partnering their efforts with a couple more individuals as well, the volume will continue to grow. Each one of them's at 450 points, 3,000 points total. And if you look at the side of the bonus scale, they're over 2,500 points, which is 18%, right? So the income will continue to go up. And on your way there, your percentage minus theirs is what you would earn from those organizations. It's called a differential, which is really good because the goal is for somebody to make more on their effort than somebody else, right? And in fact, you can be more successful than the people that are in your business, that you could be more successful than your coach. You could be more successful than me or anybody in the room in a couple of years if you decided to, because of the way that our business scale works. Does that make sense? And I love that because I'm ambitious, and if I can be successful, if I can be as successful as I want to be and nobody else is dictating how successful I can be, game on. I was excited about zero ceiling. But when you have zero ceiling, you also have zero floor as well, that make sense? So it's going to take some effort, right? And then scaling it out. So what does the income look like on that? $1,800 on a monthly basis. I started getting excited because I'm like, that's a mortgage payment, you know? And what am I doing? I'm helping some people create customers. I'm helping people learn how to benefit from their own business, and I'm helping them to grow as well. And then if you grow it out one step beyond that, if you look at each one of these individuals and you help them get to 1,200 points in this example, right? It rarely works out this cookie cutter and this perfect, but this is a good example to show, because realistically, some people are going to grow faster than others, and we're okay with that. We're okay with steady, patient growth because we want to help somebody get the best experience in coaching as possible. So we've helped each one of these small organizations grow. And now you're at 7,500 points. It's about 48 people in the network. Not all from you personally, but through the network, you've built a team, you know, and you've helped other teams grow, usually with the help of your coach as well. So now you're at the top of that bonus scale, 7,500 points. The income level on that's about $3,300 a month. And actually, at the end of 12 months of holding that, they give you an end of the year bonus check. So they add up all of your income for the entire year, and they multiply it by 40%, and you get that as a single bonus check at the end of the year. Usually it's like $15,000 to $18,000, which is pretty awesome, and a trip at the end of the year as well. So they're sending us to Vegas, and there's a whole slew of people in the room that are going to be going to that, actually in just a couple of weeks. They give you a free trip to Vegas, give you 18 grand, you know, and that can vary, but for most it's around that. And for me, that's dangerous. You know, give me 18 grand, send me to Vegas, you know, because I made money before I got in this business as well, doing things that were questionable. But anyway, I'm just playing. So 18 grand. And then beyond that is leadership. Once you've gotten to the top of the bonus scale, now it's like, hey, let me help you get there as well. The average income for a Q12 Platinum, which is that level in business, is $53,400 a year. Some make more, some make less, but that's about average. And to me, I was like, a lot of people, they go through 4 years of schooling, invest a lot of money, and they don't even make that, right? And the average traditional business owner in the United States of America makes only 3% more than that. So I was like really excited because I learned the power of this opportunity. We added that income to my wife's income and my income, and we were like paying off debt, you know, putting money, you know, away, building an emergency fund. And that's really the way that our business grows, right? It's learning about your own products, creating some customers, and then helping some others to do the same thing and really coaching them, getting involved with their lives on an individual basis. And that's my favorite part about it. Amway's great and LTD is great, but what I thought was the best part was somebody was sitting across the table from me saying, I'll help you. And I loved that, and I appreciated that. And so leaving here, you know, what do you want to do leaving here tonight? Well, you know, you probably got a lot of questions. Questions are good. Write them down, because I would encourage you to sit back down with the person that invited you here tonight and start diving into this a little bit deeper. You know, you could talk more about differentials. You can talk more about the bonus scale and how things work there. You know, ask the person this question. Hey, what's in it for you? What's in it for you? Because you might even be wondering. For me, what's in it for me is if I help you succeed a lot, I'll succeed a little bit, right? And that's your coach's, you know, what's in it for them as well. And I could get behind that because nobody else was helping me succeed even a little bit. But they were always expecting a lot, right? And then also some audio podcasts. You know, LTD has a great app. It's called the DYS. You can start listening to some audio podcasts from people with experience that are successful in our program, and that'll help to prepare you. You're going too late. I'm not just playing. But anyway, so to prepare you for what it would look like to start to learn about the opportunities. Is that making sense so far? So I really appreciate the time with you guys tonight. I hope you got a lot of good info. And I'm going to turn it back over to Toby. Awesome. Thank you.
Great job. Can we give Ross another round of applause? That was excellent. It's difficult to do that in a time frame because there is a lot of information. We highly recommend people see this business program a second and even a third time sometimes. The concepts are new. Many of the strategies that you're going to hear about are very unique to not the industry, but kind of our philosophy on how we do business. There are a lot of different ways to grow a team, a lot of different ways to grow an income, a lot of different ways to build and grow and develop customers that are unique to a philosophy and strategy that kind of underlines the marketing aspects of today's environment and business. And Ross, you did a great job. Thank you for that. I'm excited about the next portion of the meeting. However, if this is your first time and you're a guest and you're not part of the network, part of our business, we're going to take about 15 minutes and we're going to let you huddle up with the individuals that brought you out tonight to get next steps and any details that you want to put together. I believe Ross is going to be in the back as well if you want to shake his hand real quick and say hi. We enjoyed having you out. It's a pleasure, and have a great night. In about 15 minutes, we're going to get back started with independent business owners only in the house, please. We're going to be checking tickets and making sure that's in there because that's an important part of our business is to keep that internal network secure for us, okay? Thank you so much, and have a great night.